Probably the biggest and most important image that I saw here today was this image. This technically looks like a pretty cliche market bottom here coming in on the US dollar. That to me looks like the market's getting ready for some sort of major US dollar rally, implies actually risk asset weakness. That's a little bit concerning there. So I did notice that the US dollar index itself, this actually looks like it is now confirming this Adam and Eve, Adam and Steve, Steve and Bob, Steve's and houseplants. I don't know what the hell you want to call it. Of course, if it was, and here's our Adam, sort of the V bottom. If it was the classic Eve pattern, then it would be like J-Lo booty bottom, and you can see the W here. I think that's pretty straightforward. We got to trade up through this level here, and away she goes. You can see how close it is. I would say that's a foregone conclusion. I'd be really surprised if that didn't break out. Maybe we call this Adam and Steve, right? Because actually this looks like a triple bottom, kind of head and shoulders pattern here. And Steve, of course, has a little bit of a package in his booty bottom. I don't, that's, semantics, kind of having fun here with you. I think on balance, though, I do like the idea of the US dollar moving higher here. That does resonate well with me. And how ironic, I went and converted all my US dollars in my disposable account to go and pay my tax bill. So if anything, it makes sense. Now I've gotten rid of all my US dollars. US dollar's going to rally. Murphy's Law. Anyway, so the point of the matter here is this is looking very uppy, and it's just on the cusp. And really, it's a function of what the heck the Fed does here Tuesday, Wednesday. And this could be, we could look back. My hunch is we look back, and this is going to be some sort of significant historical pivot. And if you kind of think that sell in May and walk away. Well, we're technically now into May now, so there's no excuses. And of course, Brian's birthday. Market usually is not very happy into that. But, I can see that if we were going to have a correction through May, June, I got an itchy back. You should actually expect to see the US dollar index rally. So if anything, that image makes sense. If you are expecting a stock market top. And I suppose if we go back to our ES chart, you notice that we are just coming up against these highs. And actually, I hate to say it, but there was a pretty good example of us coming up against highs in something like Bitcoin here this weekend. I don't really talk too much in the public about these lower time frame charts, but it was interesting. Through the weekend, I actually worked a couple orders up in 78.6s. And I really wanted to just get a short on against these M tops up here. And it turns out that that rally that we saw midday yesterday was a rally basically right into resistance. And then they went in and put another M in and then dumped back down. So that kind of image, I'm not saying that this is what's going to happen in the stock market, but you can see it looks awfully similar. So the fact that we have the Fed coming up here shortly, by the rumor, I'm worried about what does this market look like on the other side of this event. So just be forewarned. Maybe if we're lucky, everything's hunky-dory, we just continue climbing the wall of worry. But considering the way that this US dollar looks right here, that to me looks like the market's getting ready for some sort of major US dollar rally, implies actually risk asset weakness. That's a little bit concerning there. So probably the biggest and most important image that I saw here today was this image, which this technically looks like a pretty cliche market bottom here coming in on the US dollar. Gee whiz, that's an incredible image. If you do have the ability, I think going and buying a call option on the US dollar index, or maybe more appropriately, maybe it's something like buying a put option on the euro, since the euro represents about 35% of that US dollar index. There is the euro futures. Let's see if they look similar. Yeah. So you can see we did go to new highs here though recently, but you can kind of see the topping pattern coming in here. It's interesting how I was thinking a top should have come in over here. Yeah, that's a bit suspect. Anyway, the double top breakdown never did fire there, so I don't think that that's relevant. But I suppose also too this drawing of the ascending wedge, and hell, you might even do something along those lines. This is a big one. Let's see, something like that. Yeah, it doesn't really work. I don't know. Almost seeing something like that, eh? But then that would imply just off of these lows. I don't think that's usable. I mean, we can just go off a simple market structure trend line here. I don't really see anything here in the euro. It's not the euro that's the trade, I guess. I don't know what's driving this. Maybe it's the yen. I don't know. Let's go see what the yen looks like. Hey, there you go. Ah, so it's actually Japan. Geez, Japan looks dangerous there, right? Huh. Probably all should have had this Foggenbaum on here. And oh, what a surprise. We banged into 2.618. Then came right back up. We broke this original structure. So I actually think there's a new one that developed. So that means this M probably to me is relevant. So again, not a big surprise. 2.618s are just nothing more than a test of this low. And we've talked to you guys lots about this in the past. V bottoms like to be tested. We also have this big gap in here. So at some point you should have expected the market to come back down here. And here we are. So 2.618s, I don't see how this Foggenbaum can't be traded to. But looking at this image, really, I hate to say it, I think now you got to start thinking if this level gets taken out, I think you got to start thinking about that kind of image. So if that's the case, where the hell is that taking us? I suppose if we just draw a simple trend line market structure, we just draw a simple sort of projection lows, think of things like megaphones. Yeah, that's painting down into this area. I wouldn't be surprised if that 2.618 is a big target, and that is 63 and change. I don't know what's coming down the pike for Asia, but I'll tell you, that's not the most optimistic of images, eh?